All right, welcome back, everyone. We've got some breaking news to bring to you right now. A federal appeals court just unsealed more than 2,000 pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Joining me now, NBC News investigations reporter Tom Winter, who is making his way through these documents before we interrupted you to bring you here on set to talk about it. What have you been able to learn so far about these documents? And more importantly, what is their significance to the ongoing investigation?
Sure. So this is actually not tied at all to the criminal investigation, to your point there, Eamon. So this comes from a civil lawsuit that was already previously settled. There was an appeal taken to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals saying, hey, there's a ton of documents and filings in this civil case. And it's a civil case between Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Jeffrey Epstein's top assistant and who allegedly, according to court documents and filings, had real knowledge of this scheme that Epstein had going with underage girls. And this dates back into the early and mid-2000s. And it was a suit that was brought by one of those victims, Virginia Roberts, now Virginia Giuffre, because she brought this case saying, hey, you know, when Ghislaine Maxwell comes out and says, I'm a liar, I'm not somebody who knows what I'm talking about, and my allegations are false, I have a lot of evidence to back up the things that I'm saying. And so what we're getting today is all the underlying exhibits and some of the filings in this case being put out into the open. We don't have them all yet. So as you said, close to 2,000 documents here, yeah. And we know that we have more to come. There's obviously a lot to digest. It also means that our understanding of the full record here isn't complete, and it's important for people to know that. So today we're getting kind of the first part of the book, but there may be the second part of the book that's going to change a little bit of the information that we have. But there are a couple important things in here that I think I want to talk to you about. One is that, and it's important to know that Virginia Giuffre, this alleged victim of Jeffrey Epstein, has never at any time indicated that she had some sort of a sexual relationship with Donald Trump before he was a presidential candidate, before he was the president, obviously. And it's important that no reporting has ever tied her to that. However, she explicitly states in a transcript today that, in fact, no, she never had sex with the president. And on top of that, she never saw any of the other girls that were in Jeffrey Epstein's company at the time have sex with Donald Trump either. What we do know from today's filings, not only from her statements in her deposition and the transcript that came from that deposition, but also from documents that her attorney, David Boies, was able to get from the her Social Security number and Social Security records, that she did work at Mar-a-Lago. Now, that's been publicly reported before, but we have documented evidence of that today. That was in 2000. The only other thing of interest, because, you know, we've been seeing images of Jeffrey Epstein with the president. He was in his company back in the early 2000s. There's video from NBC News' archives from that time period, rather, is that in 1997, according to the pilot's records, he was on board his plane in January of 1997. That's Epstein's private plane, along with Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the defendant in this lawsuit, and several others. And some of those names are a little bit difficult to make out because the handwriting's pretty illegible. So those are kind of the two main points here, but obviously there's been a lot of questions in the tabloid world, I think on the internet, whether or not Donald Trump was involved sexually in this particular case and in this particular instance. As far as this victim is concerned, this alleged victim, Virginia Giuffre, formerly Virginia Roberts, that's how people might recognize her name, she says no.
So really quickly, do we know of any other similar cases that maybe in the past that could have a similar document dump? Like, is there something else that's working its way in the courts?
Super question. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There are a number of civil proceedings still ongoing in this. And you remember that one of the reasons why we've arrived at today, and one of the reasons why this case has gotten so much interest, is because that non-prosecution agreement involving the former Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, who was the U.S. Attorney in Miami at the time. Right. Victims there brought lawsuits involving that non-prosecution agreement, saying, hey, we didn't get a heads up that they were going to this agreement. They violated our victims' rights. In fact, a judge in Miami found that to be true. So those civil proceedings are still ongoing. Most of the filings there have been public. Not all of them, to your question, so it's possible that we see more in the future. Certainly in this case, our understanding is that we will see more filings made public in the future. So kind of we're getting selected chapters of this book. Still more to come, Eamon.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to let you get back to trying to make your way through those 2,000 pages of documents that just were released. If you have any other updates, please come back and tell us.
We'll get them to you right away.
Thanks, Tom.